Why you trapped up in your mind? Why you always not aligned? Maybe you don't like the moment, but you need to let it shine. You've been trapped up in the past. You've been trapped inside them blinds. Now you need to let it go so you can open up your mind.
Yo, peace. Welcome to the InnerKnowledgeLife Podcast. This is the first episode. Today we're going to be talking about meditation and self-discovery, and the importance of meditation and the importance of self-discovery. So, I'm going to start off at the fundamentals. So, everything that I'm going to be talking about is derived from the question that I've asked myself many times, especially in the past. Who am I? What am I here for? Why am I here? And who am I? What is this life? What am I? And think about it. You've always been who you were. When you were born, you came out the womb being who you were. Now, a lot of people say that children are sacred. Children are the teachers, you know. And the reason why they say that is because when you're born, you come into this life fully immersed in who you are. Like, if you look into a baby's eyes after they are born, or even just a small child, you can see a large amount of presence of just observation and clarity within children. You just look into their eyes. There's no judgment, especially when they're babies. There's no judgment. There's no hate. There's just presence. They're just fully immersed in who they are. There's no programs. There's no subconscious programs in them that's telling them this is how life works. That's how life works. They are just fully immersed in it. They're observing. They're present. And what happens is, we get a little bit older, get to the age where we start learning words. We start to identify things as being this or being that. This is a computer, this is a microphone, and we put these mental labels on them. And, you know, it's good to identify these things, but then the labels start to consume you. And you start to look at things as only as their label, as their sound that you put towards them. And you start to then you start to acquire things. You start to acquire objects. You start to acquire toys. You say, this is my toy. Then you get older. This is my car. This is my house. And you start to mentally label them as something that you own. And then these objects, these possessions actually possess you, because then you start to use this as your identity. Someone asks you, oh, who are you? Oh, I'm Zach. Oh, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm this, I'm that. And this is where you keep your identity. This is where you mentally are identifying with all these things as who you are. And that's why we get so lost in objects and possessions, and we lose ourselves in these things. We become materialistic. Very materialistic, to the point where we don't even remember that we were just that presence. And think about it, all the times where you just felt so peaceful. Think about those times where you're playing baseball, you're playing basketball, and you're taking all this great action, but in you, it's like you're just present. You feel like a kid again. That's why a lot of moments when people begin to do things that they love to do, they're like, oh, I feel like a kid again. Is because they're tapping into their presence. They're tapping into that conscious observer within themselves that's not identified with everything. And so this is the importance of being present. This is the importance of self-discovery, because this is who you truly are. No matter what happens in reality, there's something always observing it within you. And that same presence is within everything else around you. And so you start to see things for how they really are. You start to see things for what they truly are. And, you know, that's the importance of it, is really tapping into what you love to do, because it's a navigation. You know, if you're like, oh, I don't feel right doing this, or I don't feel right in this job or that area, you know, this will guide you, because then once you start to do things that you do love, you will be more tapped into yourself. So now, when it comes to meditation, you know, this is a big thing, is we have to go into our meditations with a state of presence, with a state of observation, and not getting consumed by our thoughts. It's not that somebody's meditating the right way and somebody's meditating the wrong way. It's just that if your goal is to go into a meditation to tap into who you are or to gain some type of peace, the benefits of meditation actually go beyond what you would think is beneficial, but also we can get those benefits as a side effect of tapping into ourselves. Just like when you're adding value to somebody, money is a byproduct of that. It's the same with meditation. You tapping into yourself will lead to you having a more peaceful life, a more loving life. So that's why we go into our meditation saying, oh yeah, be present, observe your thoughts. And this is why we say that. This is why people who are guiding people through meditations, they say that. And sometimes it's hard to grasp onto it. What does that really mean, to observe your thoughts? To be the observer? And how do we point ourselves towards being the observer and observing our thoughts and our emotions and our feelings and not feeding into them? Because that's when the stress happens. That's when the depression happens, is when we feed into it. But if you can allow it to be there and not feed into it, then you're starting to take your power back from that, and you're starting to disassociate from that depressed self, that stressed self. And you're becoming to put space between you and that old self to build a new self, to build a new experience within life. And that's another importance of self-discovery, of meditation, is you're disassociating from an old way of being, so that way you can create a new way of being. So how do we point ourselves towards this? How do we point ourselves to presence? There's many ways, whether it's observing different things in your reality, going into your meditation, observing your breath, watching your breath. You're being focused. That's why they tell you to do things like that. Watch your breath, because then it leads you to watching everything else within yourself. It begins to put some presence into your life and gain some attention towards it. Because when you're sitting there watching your thoughts, you're becoming more present. You're watching things within your body. You're feeling what's going on in your body. Then, as you keep doing that, you start to do that during your meditations. You start to watch your breath. You start to see how you're feeling. You start to feel sensations in your hands. Feel the presence in your hand. Feel the presence in your left hand. Feel the presence in your toes. Then, once you're in that state of presence, you can begin to do something that's even above that, which is observing your observation. Which this could be like paradoxical or something like that, because how do you observe your own presence? How do you observe the observation? But if you sit here right now, just 1 minute, just sit here right now and begin to become present. Maybe watch your breath for a second. Close your eyes right now as you're listening to this. Watch your breath. If any thoughts arise, just watch the thoughts. Look at them. Observe them. Another one may come. Don't feed into it. Watch it. Now try to observe your own presence. Try to sit with it. Try to let it be there. Leave some type of warp in your mind, and you begin to calm down. You become present. Now, another reason why I feel this is so important, no matter what happened within the beginning of the universe, whether there was nothing, whether there was something, whether there was some God who sat there and was a man and created it, there was a presence within that God. There was a presence within the universe where they say it was nothing and turned to something. Snap of the fingers, Big Bang, whatever you want to call it. There was always some sort of presence that was there. Now, everything that has happened in your reality has come out of you observing it with your presence. This means that everything that has came to be within your life came out of your own presence. So everything that was created within your life came from your own presence, came from that. Now, how do you think you can begin to create within your life? Through presence. And presence doesn't always mean just sitting down with your legs crossed. Presence doesn't always mean humming and singing and being in nature. You can be taking great action while still keeping that peace, while still keeping that presence. Think about it. Like I said, remember those times as a kid you're running around doing all these activities and you're just there. You're just immersed in it. You can do that as well, because once you start to do things like affirmations or even just practice within your art, practice within the things you do in life, you already subconsciously have programmed yourself to do that. You don't need to overthink anymore. One second. Sorry, my phone was just giving me notifications. But you're going to begin to program yourself to the point of not only having that presence within you more, because if you're sitting down 2 times out of the day and you're sitting there for 10 minutes and you're just observing everything, you're going to bring that into your world where you're up and doing things. Oh, let me remember to breathe. I'm in a stressful situation. You don't have to close your eyes. It'll slowly become your way of living, your way of being. You will slowly begin to bring this within your life. And that's another, like I said, this is the importance of meditation. This is the importance of self-discovery, because now when you're talking to people, you're going to be more observant. You're going to listen to them better. People are going to feel more loved. People are going to feel more heard by you, because you're observing, you're being present, you're not judging while these people are talking. And then when you speak, you're speaking from a place of presence and not a place of subconscious programming. And that's the beautiful thing about it, is because this will enhance everything else within your life. It's just learning to be present, learning to observe things and not feed into everything and be so reactive. And that's the state of being that most people are in, is just being so reactive and angry. And this is how we disassociate from that anger. This is how we disassociate from that old way of being. A majority of people on earth right now are so tapped into their egos. They're so tapped into who they think they are based upon what's on the TV, what's on the phones, what's on the computer, what's on the news. They're so consumed by all these things, and they have no idea who they are. They're so disconnected from who they truly are. They're so stressed, and they're wondering how do I get away from this? How do I create something new within my life? You have to create space from the old thing. You have to create space from that old way of being. You need to push it to the side and observe it and say, hey, this is not what I want. And once you have that space between it, it's like, hey, now I have a choice. I'm not consumed by the subconscious programs. I'm away from it right now. You have to instantly take action. Instantly. This is my manifestation technique. What I do, I start off by becoming fully present. So I sit there and I meditate for 10 minutes. Just observing my breath. Then once I have a clear mindset, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling peaceful. I'm feeling present. What I do is then I start to visualize. I visualize exactly what I want. So I've pushed space between me and everything else that I was doing until that point. Now I'm just clear, and I have space for me to think clearly and think about what I really want to create next. Then I visualize it. So I go through and I visualize everything that I possibly can about what I'm trying to manifest. And once I have that, I have to instantly take action, because if I hold on to it, I'm like, yeah, I'll get to that later. What is later other than a thought in the head? All there is the present moment. That's another reason why it's so important to become present, because all we have is the present moment. All we have is this. Once you get to the future, it's still going to be this moment. When you were in the past, you were in the present. You have always been present. So that's what's important, is once you're trying to manifest something and you do this technique, you want to instantly take action, because then you're literally creating it right then and there. You're literally It's not, oh, I put this thought out there and it's going to create some day in the future. No, you have to create it right now to the extent that is possible for you. So if I'm trying to manifest $1 million house, I might not have $1 million, but if I visualize that house and I visualize everything that's going to happen in that house, I'm going to do this in that house, I'm going to do that in this house, then I can get up and I can act as if, my bad guys, my phone ran out of storage. But what I was saying was, then you can act as if that is already happening. And the more that you start to take action as if what you're trying to manifest is already manifested, you will begin to create that instantly. You're not waiting for some moment in the future. You are literally creating it now, because you are matching that vibration. You are matching that frequency. You are matching that reality. You're starting to do things as if you were in that reality, which will lead you to get to that reality more faster. My bad, it happened again, so I'm gonna wrap this up. But like I was saying, it's not the full vision, but you're getting yourself closer to it than you probably would have anyways. And that's, again, another part of the importance of meditation and self-discovery is, it's kind of like a life hack. It's kind of like a manifestation hack, because you're really disassociating yourself from everything that's blocking you from manifesting what you want. So like I said, I'm gonna end this out right here. You could expect a lot more videos similar to this, more pointers towards how to tap into self-discovery, meditation techniques. I'm going to have some guest artists, things like that. So make sure to tune in, subscribe, hit the like button. We're going to get back to you guys soon. Much love. Peace. Let's get it.
I've been free in that space, I'm meditating, I'm on 10. I've been all up in my prime and I'm on time with all this zen. I've been spreading all this peace and I won't sleep until I'm cleansed. I've been riding through the streets and they get swept, I'm not a fit. I've been getting to the cheese, not talking dairy, this that light. I don't need to eat my death, yeah, I'ma eat so I give life. I don't need to see my pain, but I can gain from what I sight. I can see that this a game and I'ma play till I'm a climb.